Good evening, everyone. Today is unfortunately another late check in. Seasonal depression definitely got the best of me today and had a bit of a late start. I did get my workout in, did not read or meditate this morning, but I did at least still get somewhat of a workout in. Uh, I also was able to get the bottles yesterday for the beer, so I'll be bottling that this week, hopefully. Um, but Anyway, today I wanted to talk about goals and habits. Um, this whole thing is going to be all about growth over time. But I feel like the biggest thing that a lot of people miss when they're trying to be successful or, they're, I guess, reaching to be above average is the habits, consistency, doing the same thing over and over and over again, which is part of why I try to work out every day and things like that right now. But uh, Goals and habits. So goals are kind of like in business. I guess you could think of it as like the mission. Habits are gonna be your vision, how you're gonna get to your goal, um, and both are kind of you've got to actually look at them in a structured way almost. Anyone can say, I want to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. What does that mean? Um, so everyone's going to have their own goals. You don't have to, no one has to have the same goals as me, but you got to have goals. So my big goals, the biggest ones, I guess, kind of like the top where I want to get when all this is over with. Um, One of the big ones, so this is going to kind of go a little bit into personal history and other topics. But one of the big things I want to do is donate bicycles around the world. As of right now, or at least the last time I saw this statistic, which was probably 4 or 5 years ago, about 60% of the world is too poor to own a bicycle. That's astounding as an American when you think about it. Most people here, you know, they think about a car, like everyone wants to have a car. You don't even think about bicycle being the thing that can take you to the next level in life. Being able to get to work, school, and things like that. No one, well, I won't say no one. If you live in a city, then yeah, it's probably normal. I grew up in the suburbs. People don't talk about saving up for a bicycle to get to school and work. You talk about saving up for a car. But 60% of the world is too poor to own a bicycle. So one of the big things that I want to work on myself when I finally have enough money, because money is the thing that makes everything go around, is I want to donate bicycles around the world. Just thousands and thousands, and hopefully eventually millions and millions of bicycles. Uh, and the goal from an economic perspective on a global scale, if 60% of the world is not able to be a truly, they're not able to reach their potential because of something like a bicycle. If that 60% had a bicycle, the growth around the whole world, the economic activity would explode. Productivity on a global scale would flip on its head. Uh, and, people talk about foreign aid and all this stuff like that, giving money to countries, and there is a rhyme or reason behind all that. Unfortunately, I do disagree with just sending millions to a country and hoping that it'll solve their problems. I don't think that's hands on enough. Um, and I don't think it truly targets any of the issues, because every corner of the world has different problems. So just money is the blanket answer. You can give a country money, they can do whatever they want with it. They can address whatever issues they feel they need to address, but in most cases, that money does not get spent on what it needs to be spent on. So my goal is to do something like this, bringing bicycles into areas where half the people there don't even have a way to get anywhere, and that way these people have a way to get to work, get to school. There's even parts of the world where people have to walk for an hour to get clean water and carry it back an hour. Having a bicycle and hooking it up to a little wagon or something could save these people so much time and make their lives easier. And when you do this if done on a large scale, I feel it could make a huge impact on the world overall. It's a little dark. Let me see if I can. That's a little better. So another one is air conditioning in low-income areas. There's parts of the world where one of the leading causes of death for senior citizens, believe it or not, in the summer is heat stroke, because their homes get so hot because they don't have air conditioning that they die of heat stroke. So just little things like this, I feel, that are more of a direct assistance to the people who need it. Those are the kind of things I want to do. Those are my goals. That's not a habit. That can't be a habit. There's no way to say giving people bicycles is a habit. I mean, I guess unless you already have the money to do it, then it could be a habit. But for someone like me, I can't just do that. So the goal is to have the ability to just give away bicycles. So how do I get there? Well, you got to have a strategy, and your strategy is your habits. The habits for me are going to be things like reading, meditating, studying as much as possible. I'm always trying to learn something. If I'm not in school for one thing, I try to be in school for another. I'm kind of thinking about getting a CFP license, or just different things that I can do with finance just to have in my back pocket. I've had at one point a real estate license that I had picked up. I had to take a couple years of a break from school, and I did not like being out of school, so I ended up going to real estate school just for fun and picked up a real estate license. Habits. So you have to figure out, you really got to figure out what your bad habits are. We've all got bad habits. And addressing those first and foremost is going to be the biggest key to growth. What are your bad habits? Is it hitting the snooze button too many times? Is it going for that late night snack when you get hungry? Is it getting frustrated when you see something on the internet or TV, or when someone cuts you off in traffic, and just keeping that anger inside you all day? Habits can hurt you just as much as they can help you. And understanding these bad habits and what your bad habits are is the key to growth, because you have to replace those bad habits with good habits. One of my favorite books, The Greatest Salesman on Earth by Og Mandino, talks a lot about habits. That's pretty much what the whole book is about. But one of the things that really stuck to me, especially when I was in college and I had some of my worst habits, was that you have to replace a bad habit with a good habit. You can't just get rid of a bad habit and expect there not to be a vacuum. So the idea of replacing a bad habit with a good habit was something that really hit home for me, and something that I try to think about all the time. When I see myself going into these slumps, and I know a lot of y'all probably have seasonal depression in the wintertime, which makes it really easy for some of those bad habits to creep up and start taking over, and it can ruin all the progress we've made all throughout the year on trying to improve ourselves. And then we hit that seasonal depression in the winter, and boom, everything we've worked on all year is just gone. Um, so for me, what I do, especially through the winter, and I'm really working on it more now that I actually have a little more time, I guess. But I'm also really trying to take this a lot more serious. Um, but anyway, neither here nor there. For me this year, the big thing going through the winter is going to be my three core habits that I'm working on trying to do every day, which is reading, meditating, and exercise. I'm going to make sure I do at least one of those every day. I know, I would love to do all three of those every day. I'm sure a lot of people would love to be able to do that every single day. And of course, I also want to have it done by 9:30 in the morning and have this update, check in, filmed and uploaded by 9:30, so I'm sitting at my computer ready to trade options when the market opens and not worrying about the rest of my day. So just working on those habits through the winter, and trying to make sure that if you just do at least one of those a day, then when spring rolls around and we finally start seeing the light at the end of that tunnel, uh, maybe it'll make it easier going into next year, to add another layer to that, so that by the next winter, instead of just trying to hold on to one habit every day, you can do two, and you just keep building. And then over time, you've built a daily routine, 6 7 different things that you're going to do every day. And it's not just, you know getting up, it's not just being at work on time. It's going to be things that set you apart. What's going to put you ahead of the group, the herd? And that's going to be things like reading and exercise, um, getting up even not necessarily just earlier. There's a lot of people out there who aren't successful, and well, I don't want to say they're not successful. They're not living the life you want to live, but they still get up early. So that's what it comes. You got to look at the life you want to live and see the things that those people do and what you're not doing. What habits do they have that you don't have, and try to pick those up. If if you hit the snooze button every day, but your hero, your idol, whoever you look up to, if they're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day and hitting the gym, what makes you think you're ever gonna have what they have if you're hitting the snooze button every morning? You're not. And these are things, I promise you, I struggle with this. This has been really bad for me lately. I've definitely been hitting my snooze button. Um, while I had the corporate job, I was doing really good. I'd be up by 6 o'clock every day. Um, I wanted to get into the habit. I was right there in the, I guess, talking myself upstage into developing the habit of working out every morning before work, and then things kind of fell apart. Uh, so we're picking ourselves back up a little bit right now. But that is, for me, I mean, that's where I'd like to be, is, get up and work out in the morning, get it out of the way. One of the channels I listen to, I'm not affiliated to, have nothing to do with them, but they've gotten me through a lot. It's a page called Motiversity. They put together like motivational speech compilations. That's I had a train of thought and I just totally lost it, and I'm only doing one take on these. Getting up in the morning, that's what we were talking about. I'm not very good. Well, I'm getting better, but trying to have that motivation to get up in the morning. That's something that's always been hard for me, is getting up in the morning. Now that I don't have a punch clock I have to hit, I only have myself to clock in for, I guess. I kind of drop the ball on that and haven't been good about it lately. So that's something I've been working on, gonna work on. okay, you know, um, we'll get there. I know we will. It's all progress. As long as we get up right now, I gotta get up every day. So anyway, for you've got to figure out what your bad habits are, and it's not so much just saying I'm gonna quit smoking or I'm gonna quit eating bad or I'm gonna quit sleeping in. You've got to replace it with another habit. There's got to be something else there. So instead of hitting the snooze button, it's get up and make a cup of coffee or get up and make a cup of tea. That way, your brain eventually, there's a whole dopamine and psychological process that goes along with all that. But as you continue to get up and just do something to associate that with in the morning, eventually it will become normal. It will become routine. It will become easy. It's never easy. If it's always hard to make a good habit at first, especially when you're prying a bad habit out of your mind in order to put a good habit in its place. It's hard. Um, Lord knows I have failed more times than I have succeeded. Uh, but we're not going to stop trying. We're going to keep trying. We're all going to continue to grow. We're going to get better and better. And carrying that forward on habits, this page is going to be, it is about growth, and one of those things is personal finance. So for anyone looking to, I know a lot of people have talked to me about wanting to learn investing, stocks, and all that stuff. And I always tell people the same thing: just start putting $10 away. Don't even think about buying stocks until you can put $10 a week into your savings account. So that's the first challenge I give most people, and I always hear it's always, I can't do that right now. And of course, I'm never gonna be mean about it, but my thought is, why are you asking me about buying stocks if you can't even put $10 in your savings account right now? I have been pretty damn close to poor before, but that was one thing. I always made sure I was at least doing $10 a week or something into my savings and investing accounts. I was working at Publix at one point when I lived in the RV. I made maybe 250, 300 a week. No, I think it was a little more. It was like 350 after taxes, and I was still putting 10% to my 401k every week, and then automatically I had $10 come out and go into my stash account for me to invest later. Immediately on every pay period, there was no option for me. I didn't give myself the choice of spending that money, and that's where habits come into play. If everyone always talks, oh well, I want to save up $10,000. How do I do that? I want to save up, buy a house. How do I do that? I want to buy stocks and all these things. It starts with the habits. No person who has ever made their money or success in the stock market just went out and started buying stocks. They had financial discipline before they ever opened the stock market. They knew how to budget, they knew how to save, and they were doing these things long before they started putting money in the stock market. And that's why when they got in the stock market, that discipline and that responsibility, that self-restraint led to them being successful in the stock market, and that's how they ended up where they are now. So that's why I tell people the biggest thing right now, if you want to get a hold of your finances, you want financial peace one day, the best thing you can do for yourself is to just start by, if you're totally lost on it, you don't even have a savings account, just start by putting $10 a week. Set it up on auto draw with Stash, Robinhood, something. Just make that to where it's a habit, so that every week or every other week, once a month, whatever, you have that money going to an account, and that's going to be your stock money. this is, well, you should save for a savings account. You need to put some money in a savings account. But the main thing here is just that financial discipline of putting away $10 a week. Uh, It'll start as a savings account. Eventually, you can put some of that money into stocks. I definitely, I do recommend having some safety money before you start putting your money in the stock market. But I hate the lighting right now. It really does kind of suck. But um, so if you can just start with doing $10 a week uh, on the financial discipline side, um, as I keep making these videos, I will carry over into some other things, talking about real estate, stocks, what to do with that money. Never going to give a specific recommendation. Everybody has a different appetite for risk. Everybody has different income, different situations. So there's never going to be a one size fits all when it comes to how to invest and how to do things with your money. Um, but as far as saving, that's universal. You have to have the habit. You have to start there. And if you will start with saving that $10 a week, $20 a week, whatever, don't start so big. If you make, if you think you're gonna do $50 a week, but that's stretching for you, and like, all right, well, if I have a bad week, I'm gonna have to skip a week. Like, make it a small enough amount that you're never gonna skip a week. So that's why for me it was $10 a week. I knew if I just did $10, I would never skip a week. And it just started from there, and I kept going. And then this was actually back during COVID. I was living in an RV, didn't have running water. I was not living well by any means. I was a broke college student. But because of the financial discipline I had at the time, when those stimulus checks came in, I put it in the stock market. I was able to save that money for a rainy day when I actually needed it really bad. And that's because I started with financial discipline. So I really can't stress enough how important it is to start there. If you ever, I don't know, I feel like that's the best advice I can give on that one. So for all the people who keep asking me where to start, that's where to start. $10 a week, $20 a week, put it in a savings account. Don't think about it. Don't touch it. Don't ever think about spending that money. Don't even think of it as a down payment for a house. It's money you're never going to touch again. Just put it in there and don't touch it. And if you can do that for a year or two, now over time you'll notice, like, when you get a bonus at work, you put the money away. When you somebody gives you a big chunk of money for your birthday for some reason, well, I don't really need this right now, so you put it in your savings account and invest it later. But you've got to start with that financial discipline. I suck at it. I'm horrible. I'm not great at it. I'm trying my best. This is not a soapbox. I'm not by any means where I want to be financially. This is just what I'm doing, what I believe, in my opinion, will get me where I want to get, which is having that financial discipline. Discipline in general is pretty much the key to success. Consistency, doing the same thing over and over. So on the financial aspect for today, with habits and goals, if you want to set a goal for $5,000, if you want to save $5,000, that's $100 a week. Yeah. So that might be a little high. But if you can do it, even $40 a week would be $2,000 in a year. But I know it's hard. Oh, sorry. Slow day. I know it's hard, but you got to start somewhere. Start small. Don't make it so hard that it's gonna be easy to quit. Make it so hard to quit or whatever. I'm not good at inspirational stuff like that. Just make it easier to keep going than it is to quit. Make it hard to quit and easy to keep going. Something like that. Confucius says something about it. I don't know. Just make the habits. Start finding your bad habits. Over time, I'll talk more about different things that I feel are bad habits and things I feel are good habits. Hopefully, it will help. Hopefully, there will be some that you will relate to. Or if you don't, if you know a friend who might need some help, maybe it'll help you give some advice to a friend down the road. But with that, I will call it a night for tonight. Please like, comment, give some feedback, give your opinions. If you want to leave anyone some advice down in the comments for how to develop good financial discipline, please feel free to do so. And again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and y'all have a wonderful night. Thanks.